Hi guys and welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to just talk about another time of my obviously list about Assassin's Creed, obviously the Assassin's Creed games at all. At the start I want to just obviously say that this is only my opinion. I'm actually curious to see what do you think about obviously in the comments down below. But at first, I'm going to just show you my opinions about these 5 worst games of obviously Ubisoft of all time for me. With this said, we can actually just start the video from the beginning. So, the first one that is kinda, yeah, the fifth one, but I'm just saying this, is kinda something that you maybe will understand if you just see a lot of my videos, and that's obviously Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Yeah, I know that maybe a lot of people liked it. I know that this has actually a lot of maybe good DLCs and obviously an interesting obviously story, GDR, obviously important type of combat, type of structure, all of these things. And I know that this is kind of something that a lot of people liked and a lot of people love the game. But unfortunately for this, I think that Odyssey was actually the only game that I dropped in all of the series. And yeah, guys, I'm not saying this because I actually didn't like it at all. I'm saying this because when I played it, and it was actually in 2018, because when I just bought it, I just played it obviously from the days for the day one. So when I played this game, I was actually really hyped. But unfortunately for this one, obviously I just was actually there, and I don't know. I mean, I played it, but at the same time, when I played this game, I was actually okay, but I don't like obviously the combat. Maybe it was only because I've played it actually two later hours, because I've only played 14 hours in the game. But guys, let me just say this, because I think that this was actually the worst one in all of the series. And let me say, because we have a lot of worse games in the general, in the Ubisoft, in general in the Ubisoft universe. But I think that Odyssey, with this parkour, with this obviously combat that is kind of flashy, I don't know, I don't like it very much. The parkour was obviously the worst one in the series, with Valhalla obviously. Then obviously we have to talk about the story, that it was actually mid. Yeah, the fact is that the story of the present obviously was actually better than the story itself for me, but it wasn't that bad. The problem is that, for example, you don't have any type of a moment when you can actually just see the present day, or just talk about with the guy that you actually are going to just kill with your target. And not only this, because when you have to do something, I mean, it's kind of cool to just see a lot of islands with obviously the exploration, but you have to just see more and just be actually there, just be like, okay, yeah, now I want to just know more. But even if I'm actually a really guy that loves story history, I wasn't actually that interested in just playing this game, so I actually just sold it. Maybe I'll replay it another time, maybe, I don't know. But right now I think this is kind of just the worst one in all of the series. And yeah, guys, I think that this kind of, maybe you're going to just maybe hate me, and I mean, I understand this, but I'm not that fan of Odyssey. And with this one said, I'm just going to give him a 6 out of 10. Now we can actually move on. I know that maybe, guys, today I'm going to just have a lot of insults against me. And that was obviously the fifth one. The fourth one goes to Assassin's Creed Unity. Yeah, I know, guys, this is kind of the same thing with Odyssey, but the other fact is that the story was actually too blame. It was actually too mid, and it was actually okay, yeah, but let me just do anything. There were a lot of missions, but they weren't always very important. So you can actually just go there, do something, let's do something else, talk to someone, and that's all. I mean, they weren't actually that important, and I think that this game was actually too hyped, and maybe they would have just be there and worked more on the game. Even though I think that this game was actually good, but The only thing that I liked about that game was actually the movement, because I don't know, it's kind of really cool to just move around the setting. Obviously, Paris itself, it's kind of really cool. That's probably one of the better looking, obviously, Assassin's Creed for its time. That is 2014. Maybe I think that there are a lot of games that are actually better. For example, Syndicate, Origins, Valhalla, and Mirage. And not only this, because if you have to talk about, for example, the protagonist itself, I don't know, wasn't that good. And I know that maybe a lot of guys think that he would just be better with the DLC. And guys, let me just say this, because I've played the DLC not at all because I dropped it, because it was to blame and I didn't like it at all. So I'm sorry for saying this, but I think that Unity was the worst game with Odyssey. That maybe you can actually say that Odyssey wasn't a really Assassin's Creed because you didn't have any type of assassins or Templars. But you have to talk about, for example, the worst Assassin's Creed with that name, and that for me is actually pretty easily saying Unity, because it was actually really disappointing for me, and itself with a lot of bugs, with a lot of disorders, with a lot of obviously slow type of combat that I know is not there, and you can actually feel that when you press a button it's going to do something, but only after a few times. Maybe in obviously the latest games they are more obviously advanced, so I like more the new versions than obviously the Assassin's Creed Unity's version. If you want to just know more about this type of content, you're going to just find my review of Unity obviously out here, and more about Unity in general in obviously his playlist itself. Then we have to talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows. I was I don't know if I was actually hyped or not, because I was actually there and like, okay, let me see. I think that at first I was kind of okay, but I don't think that it's going to just be a really good game. But at the end, I think that it was actually pretty mid, but it was a little bit more higher than Unity and obviously Odyssey. Why do I say this? It's because, yeah, there's a comeback obviously with all of the Templars, the Assassins, but they are not actually there. I mean, you can find them with Yasuke, and you can actually see them with the Naue, but even though with this DLC that is just came out 2 months ago for you, for me it's kind of two weeks ago, I think that they would have just done better. Maybe with other DLCs they will do actually better, but I don't know. And that's kind of my just opinion about this. I didn't play that. I just see obviously the all of the walkthrough, and I'm just saying this because I've seen it at all, and not this is because obviously the world isn't obviously beautiful or the combat. I think that this is kind of really great point for the game, but itself, it's not that good, but it's not even that bad. We're going to just see obviously my opinions about the game before and after the launch in its playlist, as I said before with Unity. So you can actually just check out these videos to just see more about this content. Then obviously we got the first Assassin's Creed, which I was started it, and I played it when I was actually 10 years old or maybe 9, I don't remember it. And I didn't finish it because it was actually too hard for the little me. But I think that at first it was actually pretty good as a game. And yeah, even rewatching it right now when I'm actually 19 years old, I think that this game had so much potential, and for how it actually just got created thanks to all of the resources that Ubisoft tried to just make, it was actually a pretty good solid game. And maybe if they will make obviously a remake, I am going to play it, because right now with the PS5 I'm going to just replay it if they're going to just make obviously a remake or a remaster. I don't know. I think that they will make a remake. I hope so, but I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to see it, and I've played also a lot of games that were related to Altair. For example, Assassin's Creed Bloodlines. You're going to just see also this one in his playlist, and it was actually a play game for the PSP, and it was actually pretty solid, if even if it was actually a really small game. So, with this one said, we can actually move on to the last one that we were going to just see for today, that is kinda for its position, the 90th of this series, and that's Rogue. As I said before, I think that Rogue was actually pretty solid game. The biggest problem obviously of this game was it was actually a reshade of Black Flag, even though it had a lot of maybe details that Black Flag didn't have. But I think that if the creators, obviously the creators of the game, had more and more time, they could have just done better. And even though when it came out, it was actually in the same day of Unity, and we know how much Unity just take its place. So I think that they would have just done better for this game. And I don't know, guys, that's actually my thoughts. Stay tuned because maybe I'll done actually more about these games when obviously the DLC of Mirage will come out. And obviously stay tuned because we're going to just start Batman Arkham City. With this said, guys, we'll actually move on. See you, goodbye, and obviously we're going to just see you obviously in the next videos and on live streamings on Twitch, one a week, and you're going to just see it all in my obviously profile. Bye, guys.